We are live. This is the Kaizen Market Update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Man, do we have enough stuff to talk about? We have inflation, retail sales, GameStop, the Fed, Jim Cramer. Oh, yeah. And the market's up. We'll see if it's going to stay up. We're going to go through this whole thing, soup to nuts. Let's welcome who's here. Kane is here. Sam catches one live. Okay. Kane says, is Bitcoin going to take out its all-time high right now? Well, if the Feds put high-powered money in the system, it could, right? If this GameStop thing is as bad as I think it is, the Fed may have to just start putting money in now. That could account for the bid. We'll take a look at it. All right. So CB is keeping his membership to listen to me. I appreciate that. So does my boss. Thank you for watching. Horace, Lisa, Corey, Stefan, good morning. Busy, Nicholas, Crypto Steph, F. Leela, Dilcapio, Riyadh, Vale, Felix, and if Railroaded is out there, I saw on Twitter, he won the Twitter sweep. He won the Coinbase sweepstakes. He'll probably dial in from his new boat. Congratulations to Railroaded. Okay. News. Let's go. Okay. Robinhood says their systems might be down for 2 hours to make sure they're prepared for the higher load. Now, in case you have not heard, the stock of, I don't know, sort of, it's like a zombie company. It's not a zombie company. It just sort of limps along with flat growth and flat earnings. GameStop. Okay. Now in GameStop, it has reached the 62% retracement of the overall up move at $31. And that will be a huge, huge level. GameStop in a nutshell. Someone in the TradFi markets is irresponsibly and or illegally short a huge amount of GameStop stock, right? They're short potentially way more than they ever should be. They've borrowed more stock than exists. It can be complicated. There is a bad and big short position in GameStop, and has this ended? I don't know. When I tried to talk about it on YouTube, they shadow banned all my content. On TikTok, they loved it. It's weird. So people are out looking for information on GameStop. If GameStop holds $31, GameStop could go higher. It would be a symbol or a signal that whoever this big short seller is in trouble. Yesterday, losses were approaching $5 billion. And I know we live in an economy filled with trillions, but you cannot have a trading entity lose $5 billion or more and have that just go, oh, yeah, okay. I borrowed some stock and sold it, and that person may not get their stock back, or I may not be able to pay my loans, or, in crypto, we call it getting liquidated, except this could be at a much bigger scale. So it's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money. If they buy the dip in GameStop and that actually works, in my opinion, it's a threat to the system because whoever blows up could be big. And it likely triggers the Fed having to put high-powered money into the system, either right now, which is possible, right? In other words, this inflation number may be okay. So who knows? Maybe they put the money in the system this morning. We're going to talk about inflation, and we're going to talk about this other stuff. Net of the net. I think people in crypto want GameStop down or stable. They want that story over. You have GameStop at 100 on Friday. You're going to have risk of a big hedge fund blowing up, which means they might have to sell all of their other positions. It's not good. GameStop down is good for crypto. GameStop fever, good. Hey, let's buy stuff. Let's buy memes. Okay, great. GameStop going until somebody loses $5 or $10 billion. No. So you got the level, you got the chart. Now, you can see that the market is trying very hard to discredit any of this GameStop buying as a result of influencers like Roaring Kitty. So we have Jim Cramer, who is, basically the voice of stocks, like it or not. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. He's got to talk every day. He's easy to make fun of. I get it. So GameStop bulls need out of the money call buying to get things going, but there's nothing to buy, meaning stop buying GameStop, right? Stop it. Another GameStop tweet. GME desperation, still can't get valuation anywhere near here. Bag them and liquidate them. Oh, another GameStop tweet. Buy low on this cufflink and sell high on this cufflink. Buy low, sell high. Are they trying to get people out of GameStop? I wonder why. Probably because some institution needs to cover a gigantic short. And by the way, this story is 3 years old. There is some work out there suggesting that from the original GameStop episode, those shorts may not have been covered. We're at it again here. Of course, crickets from GameStop. Where is Hello Kitty? Look at this. June, need higher strike prices, et cetera, who will probably go crying to authorities who won't listen anyway. In other words, somebody may go complain to the SEC about this. And oh, by the way, when this type of thing happens, when it's both irresponsible and illegal, this actually is the SEC's job. This is their job, to prevent these type of things from happening. Okay. Now let's go to inflation. So this is kind of funny. Arnold Schwarzenegger from a very old movie, when he looks at the Predator and goes, "What are you? What is inflation? Where is it?" Okay, I have an idea. You ready? I'm going to show you this. Inflation may actually have topped. Here is what I call a YouTube indicator. This video is from a couple of days ago. I don't have the exact date on it. It's from 3 days ago, where I suggested inflation is topping, mainly because of something called demand destruction. This is obviously very positive for crypto. In other words, when things get so expensive, people walk away. I understand the retail sales figures were abysmal. I also have additional data in the PowerPoint suggesting that, essentially the whole economy is about to just completely roll over. Now, when I suggested that inflation might top, one guy says, "Brother, did you graduate high school?" That's over here. One guy says, "You're living in La La Land if you think inflation is going down." And another person says, "I think you need to get back on your meds." And finally, "This will not age well." Okay. So, the guys in the YouTube comments are fading me, and I sense a top. Okay, I've got this in the PowerPoint, but this red line is motor vehicle inflation, insurance inflation, motor vehicle insurance inflation. So all other forms of insurance are kind of rolling over, and I'm wondering how much higher this can go, honestly, right? In other words, there's not a lot of mechanics. Car parts have gone up, so insurance goes up. Again, this is old pressures moving way through the system. Not saying the inflation picture is going to get perfect. Not saying everything's going to be 40% off tomorrow. But how much worse can it get? Like, what can get worse faster? Inflation or the collapse in the economy? Right. The economy is going to fall out of bed. We'll go through the graphs later. This is a great reason for crypto to be higher. And it is a reason why the state of Wisconsin pension fund and every pension fund and every bank is buying the Bitcoin ETF. Why is everyone buying the Bitcoin ETF? Because they need a hedge against something happening with banks. They need something that's going to go up a lot if rates come down, right? They need the fastest moving thing that they can get their hands on, meaning big players need big amounts of stuff. Well, there's big amounts of the Bitcoin ETF. So give me some of that. I mean, these guys are telling you what's going to happen with rates and inflation. They're also telling you that, God forbid, this GameStop thing turns into a catastrophic hedge fund loss. Maybe I talked too much about that yesterday. Maybe. Again, I would be so happy if GameStop was a 2-day event and we went back to the fact that people are buying the Bitcoin ETF. And even though it's not good for all of us, the economy could be rolling over, which means people think Fed cuts in September. I think if this GameStop thing nukes a hedge fund, it's July. Powell said yesterday, the next move will definitely or probably not be a hike. Yeah, you're right, because they want to cut rates and they have to cut rates, and they may have to do it sooner rather than later. Okay, so here's a slightly more cynical view of it. Producer prices smoking 6% annually. And of course, Wall Street is allegedly happy about it, praying for an economy that's so bad the Fed turns back the easy money. Okay, well, I don't know what Wall Street's praying for, but I think I'm praying for relief for people experiencing demand destruction. Stratospheric credit card rates, when credit card debt is at its all-time high, nobody can buy a house. Higher rates are doing nothing. This is pro-crypto. GameStop continuing is not. The longer GameStop sits, the better crypto can do. I'm so happy. I did not panic yesterday on my Bitcoin and my Solana. I actually took a little bit of time to DCA. I continue to think DCA in May. And the funny thing about DCA is a lot of times you have to maybe do a little buying when you don't want to. Yesterday, everything looked like it was going to zero. Today, it's back up. And this type of price action can continue. It can, right? Because we don't know if GameStop's over yet. CPI data meets expectations. Bitcoin to 64. Okay. Crypto investment firm Block Tower suffers capital loss in hack. Please watch Brian's video on how not to get hacked. Does Donald Trump really care about crypto? Or is he just saying that to get votes? Or both? Crypto is going to be a political issue. It is, right? The current administration doesn't like it, and that's going to come back to haunt them. GameStop is going to come back to haunt the SEC. GameStop turns into a major hedge fund problem. You'll never hear from the SEC on crypto ever again, particularly if there's a change in the administration. There would have to be something horrible happen for them to get involved. And I still don't know what they ever did about FTX. They never did anything. So politically, you don't have to like any politician. People are going to vote single issue this election. Crypto, TikTok, and let's just call it, a health issue. People are going to vote on those three. There are going to be a large number of people, particularly young people, crypto, TikTok, and one other. Now, ironically, this is kind of funny. I saw this yesterday. Trump is an ETH guy, and RFK Jr. is a Bitcoin maximalist who wants to back U.S. Treasury debt partially with a little bit of Bitcoin. Kind of interesting, right? So, I mean, I never really thought about this guy as an ETH guy until I remembered that his NFTs are on ETH. Now, again, you don't have to like any of these people, but I'm telling you right now, the political tokens, Solana, right? And potentially this GameStop meme culture popping up again is going to be the trade of the summer. And if it's not the GameStop stuff or any other meme that pops up, it's going to be the political tokens. Like, I think somewhere in here, there is the current president kind of rising up and challenging Trump to a debate. Look at this. Joe Biden calls for a debate with Donald Trump as long as Donald Trump's microphone is off while Joe Biden is talking. That sure is interesting. But, hey, you know what? Joe Biden is like, let's fight. Now, you don't have to like or not like Joe Biden, but you know what? I haven't looked at it this morning, but, this guy just gave the Bowden holders a catalyst because he's going to get up on stage with, I don't know, a guy who's good at debating. Now, Future of spot Ethereum ETF. We're going to do it. We're going to not do it. The SEC this, the SEC that. Let me just tell you something. Can I just tell you something right now? We are going to have an Ethereum ETF. We are going to have it simply because big banks need Ethereum as a hedge against a lower dollar, okay? Or they need it because it's an alternative to rising gold and rising silver. Ethereum does very well when the dollar goes down and gold and silver go up. You can't get enough gold and silver, but you could have a huge Ethereum ETF like the one in Bitcoin. And you can see all the pension funds, they move as a herd. They're going to want Bitcoin and they're going to want ETH and they're going to get it. Now, are we ever going to see ETH close above 3,000? I don't know. I'd be happy if it happened today, but it is going to happen. Look at this nonsense. Will Ethereum be declared a security by the SEC next week? Okay, well, good luck with that. I think they already said it's not, right? And then they've got this GameStop thing on top of that. So I don't even care what these guys have to say. We're going to have an Ethereum ETF because we actually need an Ethereum ETF, right? At first, I was like, I don't mind having a big currency outside the ETF system. Now, after GameStop, I'm starting to see a need for it, right? In other words, if you have a problem with banks, you have lower rates. I mean, you have good scenarios and bad scenarios. All these scenarios add up to, big players would probably want to hold ETH. Boy, can these guys in El Salvador do anything wrong? El Salvador gets 474 Bitcoin, mining it. A little volcano energy. I don't know how they're getting it, but I think that's what it is. I think it's volcano energy, right? Yeah, thanks to a volcano-fueled geothermal power plant. This guy, see, they're going to write economics books about this guy. Seriously. Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, here's an article. Why has Bitcoin not joined the latest meme stock craze? So CNBC thinks Bitcoin is a meme coin. That's interesting. That just shows you what they kind of know in legacy. Again, if anything is going to join the meme craze, it's Doge. Someone asked about Doge in the economics chat. I missed that. I'm sorry. I'm hoping that this market stays together because I don't know how many more opportunities they're going to give you in Doge. The cats have moved. Popcat came off support. So did Wen. It's not, does Bitcoin join the meme stock craze? Is Bitcoin allowed to go up without a hedge fund blow up? Right? The worst thing that can happen to Bitcoin is some sort of thing where some big hedge fund has to liquidate all of its positions. And if that's not the problem, then there is no problem. There is no problem. Okay, I like this. We're going to go over this in detail. Basically, what this guy is saying is that there's a macro summer and fall are driven by global liquidity. In other words, they're about to turn on the liquidity faucet. They're about to turn it on. Okay, let's see who's here. Let's see. Text Media, Nicholas, Thin Bazaar, Richard, welcome. Kenneth, good morning. Malik is back. Artifice, Felix, Vale, welcome to the show. Clement Khan, good morning. Okay, now, PowerPoint, let's go. Thin Bazaar, if you aren't mining Bitcoin with a volcano-fueled geothermal power plant, you don't want it bad enough. DYL, hello. Freaking Riggin, what's up? Okay, now we are going. Daniel Plays Paintball is here. Welcome to all paintball players. Let's go to PowerPoint. Let's go to PowerPoint. Okay, let's make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Okay, PowerPoint. Okay, GameStop, 3161. I'm not kidding. Maybe I made too big of a deal about this and I was a boomer. I don't care. Okay. GameStop down, crypto up, GameStop up, crypto down. If somebody blows up, it's bad. If somebody doesn't blow up, it's fine. The Fed's cutting rates either way. I'm just telling you right now. I don't know if you were here, but if you read on YouTube what people said about me when I said inflation may be topping, doesn't mean inflation is going down. It doesn't mean the grocery store is going to get less painful. It just means that demand destruction is here. Lower rates are coming quickly. And all you need is a bank failure or a problem. Now, the good news about GameStop higher is that, even though I don't think we want to see a giant hedge fund liquidated, that just brings the Fed in harder. Honestly, in other words, the best thing the Fed ever heard was this inflation number and this retail sales number this morning. Because if they're afraid of whoever's blowing up here, they're just going to put money in the system right now. And so is the Treasury. Right? There's a good side and a bad side. I prefer to see GameStop down. Okay. GameStop up means somebody could blow up. Either way, at some point, the Fed's putting high-powered money in the system and cutting rates. And I don't understand why everyone got off that idea. I stayed on that idea, and you saw what they said about me on YouTube. Again, motor vehicle inflation, right? Motor vehicle insurance, up only. Other insurance, rolling over. Used car prices are rolling over. That's not on this graph. Okay, let's go to this macro summer. So this is, a survey showing that when this number basically goes up, it's a way of showing the economy kind of rolling over. He's inverted the numbers. Okay. This red number is some sort of predictor about economic statistics. And if the black line catches up with the red line, the Fed will be cutting rates. ISM is a manufacturing survey, right? Demand destruction. This guy has got a fancy graph showing that this manufacturing survey has nowhere to go but get worse. Okay. So he says, and when the manufacturing survey rolls over, that ushers in up here liquidity growth. Okay. He thinks the peak liquidity is going to be in September of 2024. So meaning there's going to be a lot of money in the system by September of 2024. And that money is going to get there gradually between now and then. By the way, there are political conventions in May, July, and August. Okay. A further incentive for the Fed to just sort of like get money into the system so they don't get blamed for everything, honestly. Right. And then, of course, like I said, there's retail sales and a hedge fund blow up out there. There's every incentive to put money in the system. And as long as GameStop is not blowing through 100, this could be very crypto positive. Okay. Now, what Raul is saying is that once the Fed puts the money in the system, everything kind of goes up only. He calls it the banana zone, which is funny, right? He has 2013, 2017, 2020, and now he's basically saying that there's a possible up-only phase for Bitcoin because the Fed is putting money in the system, and they're going to do it. Right? They're going to do it. Like yesterday, I was like, oh my God, GameStop. Oh my God, something's going to blow up. And you know what? That's exactly what they said over at the Fed and the SEC, right? I just didn't do the math fully. I didn't see the CPI print, right? The SEC is calling the Fed going, you know what? We missed this. Don't let the system blow up. We missed it. And then crypto's up 10% today. So if GameStop doesn't go to 100, crypto might stay up. Either way, this whole, inflation, rates higher for longer. Remember, I mean, seriously, how much of that garbage has there been? Which is why I've been saying, even though yesterday looked awful, even though yesterday I maybe got caught up in that, please don't quit on crypto. You quit on crypto, and the day after you quit, it's going to go bananas, literally, based on what this guy is saying. They're going to put high-powered money in the system. Now, anytime they'd like to do this is okay with me. ETH at 29.83, there's a resistance point. I would love to see ETH above that. Frankly, I don't think you have to There's two sides to the story. If ETH takes out 3,000 with some gusto, then the market is probably going higher, right? You're probably going to have a week of up. Okay. If ETH doesn't take out 3,000, then all crypto is doing is moving to the higher end of the range. I'll take anything but a crash at this point. Like, if we can just stay out of this, everybody sell because a hedge fund blow up, I'll take anything other than that. I would take as bullish. Anything that allows you to DCA in an orderly fashion. Solana. Solana. Okay. Man, I was holding on for dear life. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I mean, Solana should have been up yesterday because it was meme mania, right? But it was only down like 2%. So I'm like, oh, okay, let's not panic. This is me personally doing my own internal trading diary. Okay, so Solana's back up to 155. Obviously, I would love to see Solana blow through 155. But if all we're doing is moving back and forth, it's okay. Somebody was asking about Doge. Again, I don't have the chart. We'll bring it up live, TA. And here is GME on DeMark work. Now, a word about this. Normally, when you see this 9 top, that can be the end or a pause in a trend. Now, obviously, the GameStop trend already paused. So, when you have this 9 signal, you want it, in this case, we want it to be the end. It's either the end or a pause. Now, if this is not a pause and GameStop turns around, GameStop can go higher. Remember the fib number from earlier at 31. So all I'm saying is we want this to end, because I do not want to wake up. Like, I do not want to have GameStop at 75 on Friday, wake up Sunday night, have it be at 100, or you find out on Friday that whoever has this position has been liquidated, or this was fun for 2 days. I'm glad we had fun with it, and I'll leave it alone. Now, unfortunately, I think too many people want that, including Jim Cramer. Okay. So I would stick with a DCA strategy rather than FOMOing in until we know GameStop is done. GameStop is not done. Like I said, somebody is in trouble. Now, if you forget about that for just a second, Bitcoin has been traveling in this upward sloping range. This is a linear regression channel. I think we put this up on the screen at some point yesterday. That Bitcoin did pretty good. It got close to the channel and it's going up. Somebody was asking, can it make a new high? I'm like, Fed wants to put the high-powered money in the system right now? Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody was looking for that. But if GameStop is like bad is good, or the economic data, bad is good as in they put money in the system and they want to cut rates. It wasn't my first notion, but as you can see, these puzzle pieces take some time to put together, and Solana is traveling in a similar channel. Keep in mind the Williams oscillator, this little sort of momentum indicator, is close to zero. And when it gets close to zero, you can have big moves. Yeah, the big move is up. At least it is for today. At least it is for today. You give me GameStop worry without GameStop at 100, that's Solana higher. DGen. God, look at this. I did get at least part of this right. This, when you see this, I call this a give up trade. This is like give up, give up, get up. These are 4-hour candles, just absolute down only. Normie was worse. Absolute total liquidation. Not surprising, a turnaround, and it goes higher, at least for the moment. But this is what people giving up looks like. You get the initial bottom, you get a bleed, and then the failed rally, and then people panic. I mean, assuming that is the low, that would belong in a book. That would belong in a book as to what a textbook final heave looks like. So painful. Now, I don't know if any of this is true, but nobody sold PopCat. PopCat had support at 47 cents, and it couldn't break it. So I guess if this gets silly, it can go to 77 cents. All right. And then on the privacy front, Zeph, which is like a privacy coin in a way, destroyed because of what happened with Tornado Cash. That guy got convicted in the Netherlands. I thought it was the United States. It's the Netherlands. Wow. Like some like Northern European country throwing the book at a Tornado Cash developer. Wow. Really? Wouldn't take Norway for Gary Gensler sympathetic types. Whether this stops here or not, these guys have a privacy stablecoin, which I still think is really cool. Taking your own finances into your own hands, okay? Because public sector actors don't necessarily have your best interest at hand is the number one reason to stay in crypto. Because it's like, okay, I quit, I lost money, this isn't fun. Sometimes crypto is not fun, but crypto is always important, particularly if this was a give up trade on privacy. Privacy is not necessarily for pirates. One day we will find that out. Okay. So which of Brian's picks are you holding? Okay. I have Bitcoin, Solana, and a little bit of DGen. That's what I have right now. I parked my money in the big coins until I saw something like turnaround. I had everything in Bitcoin and got frisky and moved to Solana when Solana was at 130 and crossed my fingers and hoped it would hold. Okay. Now, I may start moving out into Arrow, like if GameStop ends, because again, the Fed is going to cut rates. It's going to happen. So I can probably start moving out into some of those things. That's just how I approached it. Now, I did that for a couple reasons. One, is I can't keep my head clear if I'm losing money, right? If I'm getting killed, I just can't, right? Two, I never like to necessarily catch the falling knife, although I view the next 60 days as an opportunity to DCA in, right? To DCA into the market, right? In other words, I said to you, DCA in May, and you're going to have 6 opportunities between now and say July 4th to get involved in the market. And you may actually get more opportunities in August. So I'm not in some huge hurry, but I'm not getting out of Bitcoin and Solana. And this is why, because you don't know, you could wake up one day, and this is the whole idea about time in the market, right? I want to be invested a bit. Like I want to be invested in something in case you just wake up one day and it takes off. I mean, are you going to really have a problem buying DGen up 10% if the market takes off? I'm not. Arrow, same thing. In the current case, I'm going to wait until Monday morning on GameStop. Meanwhile, they want to rally. They want to take Bitcoin up to 70 and Solana up to 200. That works out good for me. That's just my strategy in general. Okay. All right. So there's breaking news on debates. Okay. Let's see if I can get this up here. Okay. So let's just remind you about something about the dollar. Okay. So this is the third party candidate, Robert Kennedy. He's kind of an independent. And it looks like this whole thing about Biden challenging Trump to a debate is about trying to squeeze this guy out of the conversation. Okay, this guy has a lot of interesting things to say. I've heard it. You have to remember about the US dollar. America could be an ungovernable country. So that's why I hold Bitcoin and Solana, and then I move out into alts when the danger passes. Hopefully that's a good answer. It's an honest one. Stefan, all right. Manufacturing is down. Okay. Gray Chief says, I'm fixing a geothermal plant here in the US. All right. Behave is here. Welcome. Okay. Let's go to live TA. By the way, this is a good opportunity to thank the Eagle King behind the camera for getting some of this news. Nobody knows the meme stocks and things like that better than he does. Okay, GameStop. Let's zoom in. Again, red candles on the 45-minute chart. 62% retracement is at 31.61. Excellent. I'll take it. Okay, let's go to Arrow. Okay, there was somebody who was like, I didn't get Arrow. I missed it. I get it. But, you know, they gave you another shot, didn't they? Didn't I draw something funny on this? You know, like I leave this up. It's so ugly, right? And I know we have a guy in Kaizen, like I think it's Paul, maybe is his name, or XT, and he's really good at it. He makes his living drawing this kind of stuff. I do not. So I just tried it. And yeah, look what happened. You know, you got kind of a final puke, and then Arrow comes back above $1. And I don't think it's bad if you missed it, because I think what this is telling you is that, you know, you're in like a broader DCA zone between, say, you know, 90 cents and $1.20, because this is probably a $10 coin. It's a $10 coin. I mean, are you telling me that I mean, do you know how much of this, oh, the cycle's over thing? Do you know how much of that garbage is all over Twitter? The cycle is over? Dude, the cycle hasn't really started, because you're going to wake up one day and people are going to need a new financial system. Now, that either happens abruptly off a GameStop problem, or it happens eventually, right? I mean, if the Fed has to put high-powered money in the system, they're not doing it just because. They're doing it because something is wrong, right? And that's the day when everyone goes, you know what? Yeah, I remember Polkadot, remember Phantom, remember, you know, Arrow, remember like DGen, like decentralized social media. I could not talk about this stuff yesterday. Let's put up DGen. I could not talk about this stuff. I mean, they shadow banned the stream. The shorts got shut down. And I had to go into basically my own private research area to even discuss it. This thing with GameStop. I mean, it's a short squeeze. It's a big deal if somebody blows up. But I mean, are we saying that, you know, there's no need for decentralized social media? Is that what we're saying? There's no cycle, right? Like, this is people giving up between 0.039 and 0.015. Just an absolute total brutal give up trade. We're saying there's no need for this, huh? I don't think so. I think there's going to be a need for all of this stuff. Okay, let's go up here. You know, somebody was asking about Doge. I'm sorry I missed it. Okay, on a 4-hour chart. Okay, here's what's going on in Doge, right? Now, I like this. The question remains. The market's only going to give you so many chances, but you have to do it right this second. Honestly, I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? This should be higher. It really, it should be. Like, on this inflation news and the Fed cutting rates, Doge should be at 18 cents. Like, Doge should be acting like PopCat, right? And PopCat, I just mentioned how it was doing well, and they sold it, right? They sold it. Now, I'm not advocating that, oh, I'm all bearish crypto. I'm not. I'm not. Okay. But sometimes when you have blowups, and this is going to be my final word, let's pretend that this GameStop thing is serious. Let's pretend that. When you have these things that are serious, they don't play out in a day. It takes time, which is annoying because you want to buy Arrow at 90 cents and have it go to $3. I totally get that. I want the same thing. But if someone is blowing up here and they put Jim Cramer on the tape telling everyone to sell GameStop, and GameStop holds and starts going up again, that's not good for crypto. It's not. And then you can see a little bit while people are like, okay, it's up. Yeah, let me lighten up on stuff. You can see it. because I mean, the chart changed while we were talking. Okay, so here's the bottom line. Rate cuts are coming. Time in the market matters. I have Bitcoin and Solana. May the force be with me. I do not want to liquidate crypto. I want to DCA into crypto 6 times between now and say July 4th. And then take my chances because, again, I think this guy about high-powered money coming into the system is going to be correct. Now, maybe you get big dips. Maybe you get small dips. I can't crystal ball it like that. You have to set it up. You have to set up your portfolio your way. The way I have it set up is I'm gonna stay with Bitcoin even if they drop it to 50, and I'm going to hope Solana goes to 200 before it goes back down again. That's my plan. You should have a plan too. You should also be very careful about what happens over weekends, because in legacy, if there's a problem, I'm not saying it, I hope that there isn't, but if there's going to be a problem, anybody who goes bust in legacy, it always happens over a weekend. So maybe it's like, the opposite of what it's been lately. Maybe crypto goes up, and then on Friday you sell it, and then you come back in Sunday night if there's no major problem. I don't know why GameStop went from $10 to 60, and I hope it's just a Twitter fluke. Please be smart about risk management. Please don't FOMO and chase the market. It has not paid to chase the market. It hasn't. So if you missed a bounce, you missed a bounce. There'll be another. There'll be another dip, even if it's from a higher level, right? The worst thing you can do in a market like this, and it happened to me yesterday, is get emotional. Just be like, oh my God, someone's going to blow up on GameStop. It's like I had my finger on the red button yesterday. I was like, I'm not going to do that. And then the next thing you know, the Fed is turning on the printing press, and that may be the bottom line. Whatever is going on here, whether it's retail sales, demand destruction, or GameStop, they're going to have to print. They're going to have to print because it's the problems with the economy and the banking system are worse than the problems with inflation. The problem with inflation could go away overnight if you had a problem with the economy or the banking system or whatever. That's what people don't understand. And this is classic in markets. Everyone is focused over here. Oh my God, inflation. Meanwhile, the actual problem is over here. Which is, like I said, manufacturing, demand destruction, problems with hedge funds, any potential chain reaction in the system. That brings in the Fed. We'll see how it plays out. I'll see you tomorrow.